podcast where two bearded film fans watch the best and worst horror movies of all time. My name is Luke Condor with Kate, and I'm joined by my regular co-host, Mr.
Ben Errington.
And we are joined by a special guest, Mrs. Alice Taylor Matthews. Hello, Alice.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. Alice says here, Alice is a comedian and lifelong horror fan. She has an improvised Dungeons & Dragons show, Tales of Adventure, at the Bristol Improv Theatre, and also introduces horror films for Bristol Bad Film Club. Is there such a thing as a bad film, Alice?
Well, the short answer is yes.
Okay.
But the longer answer is if you have managed to get people together and get an idea from your head onto a page and then from that page into a film set, then you've won. You've made a movie. That's amazing.
But there's some bad ones, you're saying.
But there's definitely bad ones.
Cool.
I have such admiration for people, though, that manage to get like a crew and make a film. So I think, it's really interesting to see like people's creations and stuff. So there are bad movies, but I find them very endearing.
Also, something like the bad movies that are bad because they're different. It's those differences that kind of stick in your mind for a much longer time. Like some people hate some of the movies that I can understand why they're not good movies, but I genuinely love them for those idiosyncrasies.
I feel like it's when you hear a kid tell a joke and it's the worst joke you've ever heard, but it's so funny because of who told it and just like the innocence of it, or the feelings behind it or whatever. When like you get a kid and they just be like, why, knock knock, who's there? A dog. He's got no hands. It's just like,
I like those jokes. I think I follow a Twitter account that does those.
That's what bad.
How did he knock? How did he knock? How did he knock?
But that's it. Like, I think that's what bad movies do. Like, they're so out there and kind of bizarre that there's something really endearing about them. And I think they're very earnest, and I like that about bad movies.
Yeah. So you have an appreciation for people that make movies. Have you made a movie yourself, or are you?
I did a remake.
I beg your pardon.
A remake. It's like a remake, but we made it a remake of Point Break. Me and a bunch of friends, we all got assigned individual scenes, and as a collective, we remade shot for shot Point Break. So that was really fun. The scene that we had was the drug bust scene. Are you guys big Point Break fans?
I'm not.
Oh yes.
But it sounds great.
Drug bust scene, what, like with feet getting shut off and stuff?
Yeah. We did that.
Who was Anthony Kiedis? That's what I want to know.
My friend Hugh, and when he got his foot shot off, we put a party cannon in a shoe and then triggered it in slow motion, and it looked great. And we did it in my mum's house because out of all our houses, it's the most that looks like a drug crack den. She was redecorating at the time, but yeah. So we made a a Swedish version of Point Break, which is fun. But I've never made an actual film.
Can we find that anywhere, like on YouTube?
Yeah, you can buy it on DVD if you go. We had a DVD release. We had a cinema premiere. If you go to 20th Century Flicks in Bristol, you can buy copies. It's called Project Utah.
Ben, you're in Bristol. You can go.
I'm
and
in
buy
Bristol.
one.
Yeah. See you later.
Actually, after this, give me your address. I'll send you a copy. I've got a copy.
God, that's amazing. Definitely going to take you up on that.
Well,
thank you.
Thanks for making that film, and thanks for being here. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Also, people might remember you offered a question up. I think it was a year ago, maybe.
Yes.
Maybe longer ago, and it was a really difficult, obtuse question. I remember. It was like, what was the makeup made out of on this guy's face or something like that?
Yeah.
So specific, wasn't it?
It was. I love that you guys actually remember that, because you misinterpreted what I said as well. So I said it was like a fiberglass mask that was potato chip thin, as in like an American potato chip, not like a British potato chip. Like a British potato chip's well thick, whereas like an American potato chip, like a crisp.
Oh wow! What I mean, that is the key difference there. There's really wait a minute. How thick was it? Yeah. I remember that.
But that shot is amazing. So this college kid wore this 13-year-old girl's face made of fiberglass, and then just growled. And it's amazing. In fact, you can see him disrobing in the scene before. If you look really far off into the bushes, just see this like that.
Right.
What, like he's accidentally in the shot, you mean? Or...
Yeah, he's accidentally in the shot, taking gloves off way back.
What a
got
movie.
Two different masks. One's potato chip fin and one's American fry fin, and he's like, can't decide which one to put on.
They paid him $50 and had to get him really, really drunk.
To be fair, $50. Yeah, how old was he? Did you say?
Sleepaway Camp. It's like 82, maybe.
I mean, the kid. Do we?
Oh, yeah, how was the kid?
82 years old. He was college aged, so I'm guessing like 20.
Yeah. So Ben, do we have any horror news doing the rounds at the minute?
Got a couple of little bits here. So initially, like the day after our last episode went live, there was some Resident Evil movie reboot news. So on top of the Resident Evil Netflix show that is apparently being developed.
Oh, is this not the same thing? Is this not
the same thing, Luke?
Not the animated one, but like the...
Yeah, so it's not the animated one, but there's going to be a new film. I don't think it's linked to Netflix in any way, as far as I can tell. But it's going to be an origin story adaptation of the first two games, which is kind of like a dream come true. This is kind of like what I've wanted Resident Evil to do forever, since the start. And there's a cast.
Yeah. Sorry, the cast, I recognise a few of them. Who
so Kea Scudelario, absolutely ruined that. The girl from Crawl,
Effie.
She was also in Skins. Effie.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And then one of the villains from the last Ant-Man
She's the girl
film,
who can't shout, I remember. Like
she can't shout.
Well, in Crawl, like her shout was very weak. It was like a balloon with a.
I was gonna say that the girl that couldn't shout sounds like a great horror movie.
Yeah, yeah.
It does. Call for help. What is that?
I think there's
a
a
mouse
gas leak.
So they got like all the classic characters. Your Claire Redfield, Jill Valentine, Tom Hopper from the Umbrella Academy, who plays like who plays number one, the big monkey body guy. That's my impression of him. He's going to be Albert Wesker. So it looks like they've gone for it, and we're going to forget Paul W.S. Anderson's Resident Evil franchise soon, I hope. Alice, are you a fan of the Resident Evil movie franchise?
No, but I do have a fond memory of seeing Afterlife. With my old housemate, we went to a all-night horror 3D horror movie marathon, and that was one of the movies.
Wow. Which one was Afterlife? That was like, I can't remember.
One of them.
One of them. After Life.
It was definitely one of them.
Yeah.
Now, when we're talking about bad movies... Go on, sorry.
No, that's what I was just going to say. Yeah, it was just...
When we're talking about bad movies, those are bad movies that, it's hard to find much enjoyment in. I think the last one, like the final chapter, I just remember like almost having a seizure just because of the edits and the cuts and everything. It was a bit ridiculous. It was like early 2000s new metal music video, and hopefully this new one won't be. Yeah. I don't know who's involved. So Johan Roberts is directing the feature film reboot. He did 47 Meters Down and The Strangers at Night.
Okay, I know, yeah. He seems like a good guy. I mean, I haven't seen... I've only listened to interviews with him. I've seen 47 Meters Down, which was pretty good. I mean, nothing amazing. But The Strangers Prey at Night, I haven't seen, but I hear there's a good scene in it. I hear there's a great scene in it. So we could just do that, but more.
I've seen The Strangers, the why are they doubling down on Resident Evil? So an animated series, and now a live action film.
Well, the games have
Maybe
been doing really well, haven't they,
I
recently?
was gonna say maybe there's a bit of resurgence with the games, and maybe the rights are really cheap. People
Yeah.
are like, let's just make some money on this, because like it has a fan base. Like even if you do make a terrible movie, people are gonna go see it, gonna make you money back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it seems like with the TV show, they're look like doing like a sort of Stranger Things kind of thing, where it's like the kids of Albert Wesker who are kind of trying to
Oh yeah.
dive into the mysteries of the Umbrella Corporation. So
Yeah.
it could like be a few different angles. Hopefully they'll cross over though. I think that would be nice.
Oh, that could be fun.
Could be fun. What else? So there was a trailer for The Stand as well, which went online a couple of days ago. Don't know if any of you guys watched that.
I did.
Oh,
Yeah.
I haven't, but I will watch it after this.
I didn't know all that. I knew there was a new adaptation. I didn't know all that much about it, but it's Josh Boone, so directed The New Mutants, his new adaptation, which is a 9-episode limited series, going to be on CBS All Access, and apparently it's coming out in December. But it looks all right. It looks very Stephen King. You know, they got everyone there. You got Randall Flagg, who is played by which one of the Skarsgårds? One of them, Alexander.
Skarsgård? Yeah.
Yeah. Whoopi Goldberg is Mother Abigail, and then the cast that's pretty solid as well. People like Greg Kinnear.
The only thing with that
James
kind of thing. Oh, I love Greg Kinnear. The only thing is, I
I
haven't.
love Greg Kinnear too. As soon as you said Greg Kinnear, I was like, oh, Greg Kinnear.
Greg Kinnear, yeah.
We used to watch
Go Greg.
Mystery Men on repeat all the time, just because he was is his name like Captain Fantastic? I can't remember his name. It's one of those kind of things, but he was great. What was I going to say? Sorry, man, carry on. I've completely lost it.
I don't know why I saved this as a potential story for us to discuss, because I don't really know anything about it apart from the headline. So, Buffalo Bill's house from The Silence of the Lambs is up for sale.
I know,
And
I
you
saw
can
this.
You saw this?
I saw this, yeah.
You can take a virtual video tour as well of the house.
I've been trying to write a joke about it, but I can't get it clear in my head. Like, clearly the joke is it puts the location on Rightmove or else, and then I just can't finish it. So
I mean, that's like
I'll get them.
that's
But yeah.
you're pretty close there, I think.
You're just going to be walking around tomorrow and go,
Yeah.
I got it.
I love Silence of the Lambs. It's one of my favorite movies. It never fails to creep me out. There is so much creepy about it, and everyone's performances are amazing. Like it properly is like an amazing film.
So would you say that's your favourite Hannibal Lecter thing?
Yeah, definitely.
More than the Hannibal TV show, or?
I tried to get into the Hannibal TV show, and people are like really like passionate about it, but I don't know, I just couldn't quite get into it. I'm not a big TV person. Actually, no, that's not true. Like, I'm just very pernickety about the TV shows that I watch, and then when I find one I watch, I'll watch it forever on repeat.
Yeah.
Just like that's my thing. Gonna watch that again.
Yeah. I'm the same with TV shows. I don't like to, because they're so long, and I'd rather just spend 2 hours watching a film than 10 hours watching a TV show.
I got really annoyed watching something, but because I'd watched 2/3 of it, I was like, I'm gonna finish it. But I was so angry about finishing it, and then it ended, and I was just like, I'm just really angry now.
Was it Lost? It sounds like it was Lost.
No, although I don't remember feeling that. Actually, no, I just stopped watching Lost. I was just like, I'm not wasting my time. I watched the final, but I was like, I'm not wasting my time with this anymore.
Yeah.
All I kind of wonder about the Silence of the Lambs house is it actually got a basement, or was it like shot somewhere else? I don't know. It'd be disappointing if it didn't have a basement, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you'd have to build one.
You'd have to build one, yeah. I wonder if it comes with night vision goggles as well.
Yeah,
that'd be handy.
Oh my god, I love that movie so much.
And that's it, really. I did see that apparently an animated Addams Family sequel has been announced for Halloween 2021. Don't know if you guys saw the original of that.
Didn't one come out last year?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was put off by unattractive Gomez.
Oh yeah, because he's like sort of just a.
I know, like he actually represents like what he looked like in the comic, but the children deserve a sexy Gomez, and I will not be moved on that. I got sexy Gomez. All children should have sexy Gomez.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. To be fair, I'm not gonna attempt to argue. Also, random in the Addams Family animated films, Snoop Dogg is it.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Does he speak much?
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
I mean,
He does.
Well, actually, words. He doesn't just go. Blah, blah, blah.
No. Well, that's a good point. Actually, in my head, I remember him he's
Rapping.
basically just Snoop Dogg. And first of all, I was like, is this a joke? Is it someone pretending to be Snoop Dogg? And then afterwards, I found out it is Snoop Dogg. So there we go.
He'll do anything. I saw him rapping for a Just Eat advert the other day. Like he will, if it gets in that Wonga, he'll do it.
I bet they paid him a lot though.
Yeah.
Oh, but they did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
So
Snoop Dogg. I think he seems like quite a nice man.
Yeah.
I've eaten at his uncle's rib shack. His uncle has a rib shack, and it's really good.
Where's that?
Bristol.
I can't. No, I can't remember where it is because I've been to America lots of times, and I think I've been to 14 out of 50 states so far.
Wow.
So it's all sort of merged into one. I'm gonna say it's probably LA.
Do you count the states if you fly over them? Because if so, I've done quite a few. Okay.
Yeah, well, you're in them. You're definitely in them. I'll let you
Yeah.
count that, Luke.
Thanks, mate.
Have
Yeah.
you guys seen Bones with Snoop Dogg?
I've seen. Is that the one where he's a ghost, like a pimp ghost, and
Yep.
he? Yeah.
He's a ghost. No, he's not a ghost yet. That's right. He's a pimp ghost. Right, here we go.
Specifically, but he didn't want drugs in his neighborhood, and then people killed him so that they could put drugs in the neighborhood. And then he's
Yeah.
like, "I told you not to put drugs in the neighborhood," and then kills people.
Now I'm a ghost.
Is that the plot of Bones?
That is the one, yeah. I've definitely seen it. I can't remember much about it, but I just thought of that then when we were discussing them.
I think it traumatized me a little bit because I'm not really scared of anything. Like I'm just generally not scared, but I do get freaked out by maggots, and I just remember there being like maggots constantly in it.
Yeah.
Like I think they like come out of people's faces and fall from the ceiling and come out of walls and just like I just think there's maggots everywhere, and I think it just is like
Maggot overload.
too many maggots.
Yeah.
Too many maggots, yeah. There we go. But that's pretty much it in terms of news. I don't know if you guys saw anything else that I've missed.
No.
No, other than cinemas closing down, which isn't good.
Oh,
Yeah.
God. I did go to the cinema this week. Did you go to the cinema as well, Lee?
I did. I went to see Akira for the first
Oh.
time in IMAX, which is great. Have you seen Akira?
No.
Years ago. Like years ago. Like, probably when I was a teenager.
Yeah, it's one of those films like I remember at work or being at uni and people bringing it up and I'll say I haven't seen it and they go, "What? You haven't seen Akira?" So it was always like a black mark on my filmography. It is great. Like I can see why people really love it. It's kind of dystopian. It's like a quite epic dystopian film, but I didn't expect it to have as much body horror in it as it does. It goes on full anime, but the body horror elements are insane in a horror movie fan way.
That has piqued my interest because body horror is my favourite.
Yeah, it definitely goes to some crazy places towards the end.
It is a cinema blind spot for me. Like I've got a list of cinema blind spots, so maybe I should add that one on there.
It's worth it. It's pretty good. Someone's watching a horror movie right now.
That might be my baby. I might have to just feed him, but you can't see my boobs from here, so I might just 1 second.
Okay, no worries.
You need to do.
What about you, Ben? What have you been watching? Or do you want to wait for?
Yeah.
Alice? Okay, cool.
Yeah. Let's wait, just because well, we don't know how long she's gonna be. Oh no, she's back. If you need to go at any point, Alice, we can hang on for you. I said if you need to go briefly, we can hang on for you. So
No. Earlier this year, I made a baby, so
Oh.
just gotta deal with the consequences. Not really.
the consequences are.
He's lovely. I love babies. There we go. I love
How old is he?
He is 4 months.
Ah, teeny tiny.
No, such a smasher.
See you first.
No, my second.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so I'm all on the baby milking.
Oh no.
Have we had a baby on the podcast before, Luke?
Well, when people lose the quizzes, they can go that way.
Me after losing a round of the name game.
Yeah. What are you drinking? That looks very yellow. Is it?
It is literally just water.
Yellow
a lovely
water.
Spider-Man.
Cool.
Water.
Okay. I've seen a lot of people with those
Wasn't it?
kind of metal bottle tanker things. What does it? Does it make the water? It's alright.
I think it keeps the water cool, but it also keeps it quite fresh as well. You know, when after you've left a bottle of water there, you haven't touched it for a while. Maybe if
Yeah.
you've refilled it or something,
Yeah.
you go and taste it, and you're like, keeps it nice and fresh. It's quite a good weapon as well. I feel like if once it's full of water, keep it on the side of my
Yeah.
bed.
I was going to say is you would have never
Tiny baseball bat.
survived in science because they need all the glasses of water everywhere. So
I
you would have
do.
been dead straight away.
Yeah.
You're totally right, and I do love that moment as well. Swing away.
Yeah.
That's like a proper Goosebumps moment in film for me, where I go, oh, Joaquin.
I can't remember the last time I watched Signs. I think
I
my
don't-
memory of Signs is the Scary Movie sequel that had the Signs bits in it with Leslie Nielsen. You know, he pees out his finger.
The jump scare in Signs as well. Also one of the best.
That is one of the jump scares in cinema that I will give a pass to.
Yeah.
I think it fulfills a very specific purpose and it's very well done. I get a bit on the high horse about,
Benders as well.
lackluster.
Lazy. Ben says they're
As
lazy.
well as lazy, bloody lazy. Have you watched anything else, Luke?
Yes. I watched 2 other movies. I know some people are like banging out the horror movies at the minute because it's October, but I'm a little behind. But I watched 2 movies. I watched Impetigore on Shudder, which is directed by it's an Indonesian horror movie, and it's directed by the guy who made Satan's Slaves, which a lot of people would like bigging up big time, like last year or something. So I watched Impetigore, and I wasn't too sure what I was getting into, and it is really good. It's really spooky. The gore's really great. It's about. So it starts off with a woman working in one of those till boot. What do you call the things where you?
Toll booth?
Yeah, toll booth. One of them. And a guy comes out and then he says, "Are you this person?" And he says, "No, I'm not this person." And he goes, "You are this person." And he gets out a machete and starts trying to kill her. And you find out that she is this person. And then she's got some property in this village where this guy came from. And because she's so poor and like struggling financially, she goes to try and see this property to sell it. But the village wants her dead. And like there's a really creepy little village in the middle of nowhere kind of situation going on. I was surprised by how good it was. So I definitely recommend Impetigore.
Is it Indonesian?
Yeah.
And this is on Shudder as well, yeah?
Yeah,
I've seen the
image,
poster.
I don't really like the poster. It's like a woman's head with like little woman's heads in her eyes. But it's really good.
I've looked at it now, and it is, that is a bit now. But
Sesame
yeah,
Street is got the small problems compared to eyes in people's faces.
Two little heads.
Old eyeball heads.
He's just like little eyeball heads.
And I also watched Books of Blood, the new Clive Barker. I don't want to call it an adaptation because it doesn't really. So it's a movie that includes the wraparound story from the Books of Blood books, but that's like one of the weakest stories in the Books of Blood to include, and it kind of makes up some other stories. You saw this as well, didn't you, Ben?
Yeah.
Um,
Not. Yeah, I know it. Yeah, weird that they would do an adaptation of it and then include new stories. That doesn't really make any sense at all, does it?
Yeah, call me old-fashioned, but if I'm going to go watch an adaptation, I kind of want it to be an adaptation of the story and not just use the name and then do completely your own thing. It's not even like a loose adaptation. Those other stories.
No. And also, like, there's so many good stories you can cherry pick from. How many volumes is it? Like 6 volumes of Books of Blood. Like you could literally take any of them, and it just seems like the ones they decided to write themselves are just sort of like a bit half-assed.
And they don't even feel like Clive Barker stories. Like the ones they've done themselves don't have the Clive Barker.
They're made Clive Barker flavour.
Yeah.
There are maybe 1 or 2 visual moments which were quite Clive Barker, but other than that, I just found a lot of the characters annoying as well. Anna Friel's in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Bit random, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's probably the only actor I recognise.
As a sort of a random horror movie to stick on, it's okay. But if you're going into it expecting an adaptation of like Clive Barker stuff, it's not that great.
Well, considering you predicted the Clive Barker resurgence, and now this dud has arrived,
I know,
I'm blaming you.
Well, I need them all to be bangers. I need Candyman to be a banger. I need...
Oh, yeah. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too.
I'm pretty confident that's going to be a banger.
Got high hopes.
What else is coming out, Ben? I can't remember.
Have you guys...
What?
Go on, sorry.
Clive Barker?
Yeah.
Something else. Can't remember. Sorry. Go on, Alice. What are you
I was going to say, have you guys seen St. Maud?
No.
Yes. Yes.
I want to.
No.
I saw it recently, obviously, because it's like new. It's great, isn't it? Oh, did you not like it? I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it, definitely. Like, I only saw it last night, so I think with something like that, I need to sort of process it a little bit, because it doesn't feel like just one of those films I'm kind of... Like, there's plenty I liked about it. There are a couple of genuinely unnerving, creepy moments.
Yeah.
Where it's set as well? I kept trying to work it out.
It's an unnamed seaside town. I think it looks like Southend.
I was thinking Southend, and there are a couple of bits that looked a bit like Blackpool as well. It definitely looked like somewhere.
I think it's meant to just sort of be like an unnamed seaside town.
Yeah.
I don't think you're meant to be like, oh, that's this place.
It's getting reviewed really well. I think a lot of people are singing its praises.
Yeah, I would encourage lots of people to kind of see it. Like, I don't want to kind of give anything away, but like it reminded me of films like Carrie and stuff like that. And
the lead was great.
She's so good.
She was superb. Yeah. And what else? I'm trying to think of what I could say about it without and it's also the debut feature of the director.
Rose Glass.
Rose Glass, yeah.
Is it Rose Glass? That's what I'm calling her now.
That sounds about right. That does sound right. And it's getting reviewed really well, and it's good that it came out as well, because obviously with plenty of films getting pushed back, it's good that they decided to release it, because I've been looking forward to it for a while. So yeah, definitely check out Luke. I think you like it.
Okay, I will. Although I don't know if the cinema's open now, so I don't know how. There's only one cinema around here.
Just bang on the door. All you got to do is bang on the door, right? Bang on the door, and someone will answer eventually.
Yeah. Okay, I'll give it a go. Sorry, I just had to let that out then. What else have you been watching?
I watched Coco Da. Have you guys seen that?
I get very upset when you talk about films I haven't seen.
It is by Johannes Nyholm, I want to say, and it's a kind of a horror film in the vein of like Groundhog Day. Something terrible happens, and a couple go on a camping trip to sort of reconcile, and then some creeps from the woods attack them, and then they relive that day over and over again. But what distinguishes it from other movies that have time loops is only one character kind of remembers that it's happened again, but he doesn't quite remember exactly the details. Okay. So in something like Groundhog Day, where Bill Murray is able to best it and use everything to his advantage, because he knows exactly, like this guy doesn't. He just knows something horrible is lurking out there, coming to get him, and he can't quite grasp what it might be, but he knows it's coming, and it comes again and again and again. It's really good.
What's that one called? Coco
Coco D, Coco Da.
Coco Da.
Why is it called that? Was it made?
It's based on a children's nursery rhyme, and the nursery rhyme is about a dead rooster who can no longer sing. So it's like I think it's Danish-Swedish film.
Okay.
And it's really good. It's really tense. So I would recommend that.
Cool. What about you, Ben?
Anything else? Well, so in preparation for today's film, I decided to go and watch a couple more Frank Henenlotter movies just because I hadn't seen any of his stuff before. Basket Case was the first one, but then I decided to go and watch Brain Damage as well. And it's pretty trippy, sleazy fun, psychedelic visuals, score. And I found it really fun. And obviously the Elmer dude, the well-spoken, really, I mean, it's very strange.
What a polite little parasite.
What a polite little parasite. What I loved the most about it was like his backstory, the fact that he was centuries old and the fact that he'd been fought over for all these years. That was really interesting. And I kind of like wanted more of that in a way. But yeah, apart from that, it was pretty nuts. But I also watched Frankenhooker, which it's got to be like one of the ultimate party movies to watch, like with friends, because it is utterly ridiculous in the best possible way. There's a scene where a load of hookers explode after smoking super crack, and they all explode. And honestly, I think it may be one of the greatest scenes ever put to film, because I have watched it back like 4 times, and every time I was still like going belly laughing. And I think it might be, I mean, it's a completely different film, I guess. Well, it's the same sort of vibes as Basket Case and Brain Damage, but I don't know, I kind of really like this one, whereas the other two, obviously I won't spoil how I feel about Basket
Well,
Case, but still.
I've got an indication there.
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. So that was that. And apart from that, I've just started The Haunting of Bly Manor. I don't know if you guys have started that yet.
Yeah, I watched a bit of episode 1.
A little bit, just a little taste. Did you guys see the thing that was going around on socials, which was the reviewer who had been assigned The Haunting of Bly Manor by The Guardian was just like, it was just the worst. I know, Alice.
I hate Halloween. I hate anything scary. There's real life scary stuff, so why would I bugger off?
Yeah.
It is like pompous. It is incredibly pompous, and a lot of people were saying there are so many good writers. Sorry, go on, Alice.
No, I was just gonna say, I can't even remember what I was gonna say. I think I don't understand why you would start a review but like, I absolutely hate this thing, so here's my review of it.
Yeah. It would kind of make sense if it was like, I actually hate it, but this was...
Yeah. They still gave it like 2 stars. It's like, if I hated Love Island, I don't know, I'm saying if I hated it, as if I actually love it.
I mean
like Love Island, for example, I don't watch it, I've got no interest in it. Like, I don't know why I would then put myself forward to write a review. Or if someone gave me a review, can you write a review of Love Island? I'd say, well, I'm not the
thing is,
I'm not the right audience.
Being contrarian is a good way of getting traffic.
Yeah.
And
that's the thing, but that's so cynical. And there would have been so many people who would have really enjoyed writing about it, even if they hated it. Yeah. They could have given a really interesting analysis from the point of view of someone who loves horror, even if they hate it. But it's just someone like, I hate Halloween, I hate horror movies. It's like,
they said Halloween is the most
boring time of year. I was outraged. Like,
how can you say Halloween's boring though? Like, you might not like Halloween, but it's not boring.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. I mean, against Christmas, it maybe doesn't live up to the Christmas hype, but compared to the rest of the year, like, it's one of the high points. You know what I mean? It's not.
I mean, anyone want to go around her house for St. Andrew's Day? Like, what's she doing?
She loves Pancake Day. She's well into Pancake Day. Counting down, eating pancakes every single day.
The pancake tree.
Pancake.
Pancake crackers.
You could totally make a pancake tree. That sounds delicious. Just
day.
stacked on top of each other.
Yeah. She wakes up at 5 a.m, too excited for her pancakes.
Yeah. I love the pancake carols.
Yeah.
Stocking full of pancakes at the end of the bed.
Oh, the cold Scotch pancakes, the nice cold ones.
Yeah.
Start the day.
I've only seen 2 episodes of The Haunting of Bly Manor so far. I was kind of into The Haunted Hill House. Again, I'm a bit similar with TV shows. It takes me a lot to feel really committed to something.
Yeah.
So currently, I'm not so sure. So.
I watched the Perry Mason TV show recently, and it's not a horror. It's nothing to do with horror, really. But
why are you reviewing it?
But what I will say is,
I hate Perry Mason. Every stands for.
But at one point, someone's head gets blown off with a shotgun, and it's really graphic. And I looked at it, and then I turned to my husband and I went, I think I know which special effects artist that is. And I was like, I think that's Ed French. And I looked it up, and it was.
Wow.
Oh my God, Jesus Christ.
Ed French, of course, being our friend from Sleepaway Camp.
Wow, how did you go, that, I bet that special effect head is about a chip thick. Imagine it like an artist with your fingernail. Yes, 2 chips, 1 chip. Ed French.
But
fiberglass.
My favourite thing about horror movies, particularly like that's why I like body horror, is the special effects. I used to want to be like a special effects artist, and I like worshipped Tom Savini when I was like a teenager. So like I do like watch a lot of horror films. I do recognise people's work and stuff. So like when, like it does look different. Not all heads blown off with shotguns look the same. There's different levels of technique there, and he's got such a style that I was like, do you know what? I think that's him. And it was, and I was so excited.
That's really cool. There's a comic book my friend has just kickstarted. He did really well. He's like made 200% of his goal. It's called Serious Creatures, and it tells the story of Rob Bottin as his sort of rise through the special effects industry, and I didn't realise there was that much of a story to the whole industry, but it's really interesting. There's so many interesting characters, and wait, so Ed French, so how did you recognise? I mean, I don't understand what you saw in that made you think.
It was just someone's face that had been blown off with a shotgun, and the like level of detail and the colour palette and things like that was like, oh, that's Ed French's work.
Wow, that's really cool.
That's impressive, and that's like such a niche thing. Like if you could somehow monetize that, I don't know, like. But
like, I think it also helped. I think it also helped. No, because Ed French does a lot of the like medical dramas. Like if you like he did House, and he did lots of stuff on Grey's Anatomy and stuff like that. So like if you want a gnarly wound, you're going to Ed French. Like if you want it to look like someone's like lost half their jaw, here's you go.
Get Ed in.
Get Ed.
Ed
Big Ed.
Yeah. Ed in Ed.
Yeah.
So I think the last thing we discussed before we get into the review was something me and Alice were discussing on Twitter, and a few other people were involved as well, and that was child-friendly horror movies to watch, particularly I guess around Halloween time, because it's a good time to introduce your kids to the genre and get them, because they're open to it, because Halloween's on its way, they're used to dressing up and they know what it's all about. So we were going to discuss some recommendations that would be suitable.
Yeah, I sort of split up into age groups. So I lumped 5 to 9-year-olds together, 10 to 12-year-olds together, and then 12 pluses.
Wow, that's a lot more prepared than I was.
Even more prepared than me.
3 films in my head.
I had no idea we were going to be talking about this.
I mean, we can just discuss as much as we like. So, like, I love horror films, and the first ever horror film I saw was when I was 6 years old, and I saw Aliens, and I would not recommend you let your 6-year-old watch Aliens. Didn't do me any harm, but it's probably a bit too intense.
Really? Do you feel like that might be what led you to be a horror movie fan today?
I mean, like, absolutely. But the context in which I watched Aliens was my parents had just broken up. I It was the weekend. I went to stay with my dad in his like shitty 1-room apartment. We made a curry in which I chopped the chilies and then got chilies in my eyes, and then we listened to a Madness record because I thought
and it blew up.
Yeah, no, we listened to Baggy Trousers, and I was just like, this is the funniest song I've ever heard. Yeah. And then my dad smoked a joint, and we watched Aliens. And
wow.
Well, like I say, we didn't smoke a joint. Like he didn't go a joint to us.
How old are you again?
Yeah.
He was off, having a breakdown from splitting up. But yeah, he was just like, like we can watch Aliens, and I thought it was amazing because like the main character is Ripley, who's incredible, and then the other sort of main character is Newt, who is a child who was pretty much my age. So like in terms of like identifying with characters, it was a really good introduction into horror.
Yeah, I think the one that like kind of broke me as a kid was Candyman, and there wasn't really anyone in that. I mean, I could identify with Helen; she had blonde hair. Yeah, that one ruined me a bit as a kid.
I absolutely loved Candyman. Like I used to just go into people's houses and be like, Candyman, like waiting for him to turn up.
Was there not a part of you that was like terrified he would turn up though?
No, like if Candyman was a maggot, then sure, but he's not. He's the wonderful Tony Todd. Why wouldn't I want the wonderful Tony Todd turning up?
With his incredible voice. He's got like the best voice in that film. Yeah.
I honestly think Aliens was one of the first horror films I saw as well. I don't think I was 6, but I remember seeing it super young. I've not got an interesting story about it in that way though, and I can't really remember. I think my mum just used to watch films on a Sunday afternoon, and I think on Sunday afternoons all bets were off because she wanted to watch the film, and if I wanted to see it as well.
Well, my husband saw Alien when he was also really little, and his mum got it because he liked E.T. and she thought it was
amazing. This alien is not so cute. What would you say was a good jumping off point then for kids and horror?
If you're looking at the like 5 to 9 bracket, what I would say is you want like a horror adjacent movie rather than a horror movie. So like something like Nightmare Before Christmas, or
I can say Elm Street.
No. Or like Paranorman or Hotel Transylvania. So in that world where there are like monsters and things, but the like levels of peril aren't there. Horror adjacent movies are typically like animated movies, and they're much more family, but they are actually for kids. But it introduces kids to things like werewolves and vampires and like zombies.
Would Casper or is that like
okay? No, absolutely. Casper would definitely be in like a horror adjacent movie. So like world building movies that actually don't have that much peril in them.
Yeah.
Like Scooby-Doo, Addams Family. That's those kind of films.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What about Coco? That's kind of like a dead skeleton.
Yeah. I would say. I would say that goes into the kind of category of like horror adjacent. And then like 10 to 12-year-olds, we're getting into horror movies now. So I would think, no, like not necessarily like full-blown horror. So like I've put The Witches and Return to Oz in there.
Oh yeah.
Because they are really scary, but I have also added things like Arachnophobia, Beetlejuice, Jaws, The Birds, and Tremors in there. So depending on your 10 to 12-year-olds, like do have to think about like their sensitivities. But all of those films either have very little kind of swearing. Like Tremors has one F-bomb in it.
Beetlejuice has got one F-bomb, which I wasn't aware of until it arrived the other night. But
Beetlejuice I was obsessed with Beetlejuice as a kid. But like I didn't realize how much the adult. There's a load of adult humor. Like he has like a little hooker house in his little model village.
Interestingly about that, so like a few months back, someone pointed out that in all PG films you're actually allowed one fuck, and they were saying like in the Lord of the Rings films, where would you put that fuck? Because they're all like PGs.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But now, like, I'm obsessed with that thought process. That every time there's a PG film, I'm like, where am I going to put the fuck? You know, which is a fun little game to play with yourself when you're watching films with kids. Just like, well, you know, don't tell them. But like for that age bracket, like I don't think you necessarily want monsters. Like, you know, some of those do have monsters, but I actually think things like Jaws and The Birds and Arachnophobia are good ones, because you know, they are real life things. They are scary, but you can still like be like, but you know, it's Hollywood, it's movies, without them kind of, because the thing with monsters is it's an irrational fear, but you can't always, you know, you might be able to say to your kid, there's no such thing as monsters, but they might still have that fear. Whereas if you can be like, spiders don't actually attack people, let's go to the zoo, let's go check out the spiders, or you know, let's actually, you know, you can you know, give them actually an evidence base that, you know, the film that you just watched about birds attacking people, that doesn't happen. It's you know, it's silly, it's made up.
Yeah.
What films have you got for like that age range? What would you?
Well, I didn't kind of break mine down into age range. I was just going to discuss some of the films I've been watching with my daughter. So she's 10, but I don't know. It's pretty difficult because she's pretty brave with most stuff, but then something completely random and left field will seem to scare her. So this is actually pretty scary. But we watched The Monster Squad.
Oh, I love
She was okay with it to a degree. Yeah, obviously a great film. She was okay with it to a degree until we saw the werewolf transformation. That was when she was kind of done. She was like looking away, and as soon as the werewolf would pop up again, she wouldn't want to look. She was scared of one particular character of it. We watched Beetlejuice. She was absolutely fine. She even fell asleep, which sort of shows me she's not that bothered by it at all. I was going to mention the Ghostbusters movies, just because obviously there are some scary bits, but it's mostly like a horror comedy, I guess. Goosebumps movies as well, which again introduced them to monsters, but the peril again is, I don't know, iffy. But one thing she got a little bit scared of recently, we watched a Jurassic World animated TV show, which seems like on the surface is definitely made for kids, but people die in it, and you don't see, like, there's no blood or gore or anything like that, but there are a couple of jumpy bits in it, and she was genuinely scared. She had to sleep in the same room as me recently because she thought a Carnotaurus was going to pop its head through the window. But yeah, apart from that, I think we've got the next couple we've got down. Would you put Edward Scissorhands in there? I guess it's more like a gothic love story, isn't it?
It's you know, it's basically a melodrama. I mean, it is definitely like horror adjacent and stuff. So you know, you could, like, for the 12+, so a bit old for your daughter, but you know, there might be some films here. I've got Poltergeist. It's actually, you know, there's no boobs in it, there's no swearing in it. I think the mum smokes a joint at one point, but you know, you don't have to tell your kid what that is. And there's not much. I think it was a PG when it came out and stuff. I
think you just saw a ghost pass by behind you. There's like a mirror behind you.
yeah, that's just the ghost.
I suppose nobody dies in Poltergeist, do they?
Everyone's already dead.
Yeah, good point. But I suppose, what about the skeletons in the?
Yeah, I mean,
it does get quite scary. There's the clown. I would imagine scary, like the clown toy would scare some kids.
Yeah, there's definitely scary things in it. But if you want to introduce kids to scary films without too much peril, then it's, you know, potentially a good one. Yeah. I also think horror comedies are quite good to introduce kids to horror. So like something like The Burbs, I think, would be quite fun to watch. Yeah. Like a lot of the Joe Dante films, like Gremlins and
Gremlins I watched all the time. I think like 10ish or so. So yeah, it's a good one.
And actually, I wrote 2 down that, you know, you may or may not agree with. I think actually The Quiet Place would be quite a good movie to introduce kids to. It's a 12A. There isn't any swearing in it because there's no dialogue. It's actually there's no nudity and there's very little gore. Like, people do get hit by these monsters, but it's very quickly like out of shot and things. So if you are trying to introduce like a 12-year-old to horror movies, I think that could potentially be like quite a good one.
Yeah.
You know, to introduce. Similarly, The Ring doesn't have much swearing or nudity and things, but it's, again, it was a 12, so you know, actually there isn't, you know, it is scary, but if the purpose of it is that you want to introduce, you know, your 12-year-old, I would not show this movie to an under 12.
I think I'm scared of that. I don't know if I can. My mum's got a 13-year-old daughter, so my half sister. And she's kind of been asking to watch things like It, Scream, you know, so it's a little bit dodgy territory. I think if I was there, I could kind of, you know, let her know when something particularly bad was going to come up so she could hide. But
well, I mean, another one would be something like The Sixth Sense. You know, it's another movie where there's no nudity, there's no swearing. Well, there's like a nudie boy at one bit, but he's not completely naked.
College age, I hope.
Yes, very much college age. But you know, although like controversial, I don't like that movie. I think the real twist of that. I think the real twist of that movie, it was never any good the whole time. It's just.
We've all been believing that it's a good film, but actually,
it's a good film. The twist is it's not. It has a great twist. It has a great twist, but some of the dialogue, like if you rewatch it, like some of the dialogue is properly cringe, and some of the acting is pretty bad. Like Haley Joel Osment does a good job, but like some of it is just. I think it's quite dated.
It's been a long time.
I've never done a
seen it.
M. Night film on the podcast, have we, Lick?
No. I don't know if I want to. I don't know. I mean,
You like Signs?
Oh yeah, I've been in Signs. I've not seen it in a long, long, long time. And is Leslie Nielsen in it? I can't remember.
Cool.
But those are some of the films I was thinking of, like. You know, but what I would say is if you are thinking about introducing your kids to horror films, think about your kids specifically. So don't just pick one of those films that I mentioned and show it to your kid if you don't think your kid has the right sensibilities to.
It is weird though, because I do feel like a bit of kinder trauma kind of builds a horror fan. Those films that really traumatize me are probably why I kind of. It's that because you kind of want to overcome the fear as you get older, and you kind of want to dare yourself to watch scary and scary stuff.
Yeah, I remember watching like loads of films that I definitely should not have seen.
Yeah.
But like I love them. Like I probably watched Child's Play when I was 12.
Yeah.
You know, like everyone did, and like definitely watched Candyman when I was like 11 or 12.
See, Candyman was genuinely scary. It's such a terrifying film.
I love it. I love Candyman. I'm gonna say it one more time. Candyman.
Cool.
Just seen Candyman in the mirror.
Yeah. Candyman's here and he is cranky.
Cool. All right.
Luke, am I coming through all right? Because you've gone quite low res on my screen. Have I as well?
You're fine to me.
Yeah, you look good.
Oh, right. Okay. That's
nice brilliant. And lots of pixels in that face there.
Okay. 4 pixels. Okay, cool.
Okay, yeah, should we jump into the film of the week, A Certain Basket Case, which is 2 words. The song is the one with the words together, I think. Is that right?
Sure.
Oh, what? What's that? Oh, what, the Green Day song?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? Maybe. Okay, so Basket Case is a 1982 American horror film written and directed by Frank Henenlotter. And then, wait, let me just find the description, because the description on Wikipedia is very strange. So, a young man carrying a big basket that contains his extremely deformed Siamese-twin brother seeks vengeance on the doctors who separated them against their will. The description on Wikipedia says Kevin Van Hettenreich stars as a normal-looking person. It says he stars as a normal-looking person. It's like, what does he? That hair is...
Oh, that hair's amazing.
Your hair is amazing.
As a bold man, I was very jealous. Yeah. What a do.
Yeah.
It's got a 6.2 rating on IMDb, 77% Rotten Tomatoes critic score, 53 audience score. Letterboxd has it sitting at 3.3. and I've got some choice reviews from Letterboxd. Destiny SP says bubblegum that eats burgers, 3 stars. So that's right in the middle, really. Another one, Modern Lights, said one of the finest examples of so bad it's good movies, 0.5 star. And I know. And
that works.
Angelica watched it and she just put no, 0.5 star.
Come on, Angelica.
Yeah.
She's grown up from the Rugrats and she just hates films.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is a weird movie. It's super low budget, right? Do we know what the budget was?
Originally, he had in his mind that it would cost $200,000 to make. He had $8,000. He then was able to match that with his producer to $16,000, and they eventually managed to get $35,000
altogether. That's pretty cool.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
But like how they funded it, so like his life savings was $8,000, and then he matched it to $16,000, and the way they got investors was just started filming and then showed them what they'd filmed already. Like, go on, give us some money.
I wonder which bits they showed them. Like the screaming, the light up eyes on Belial or something. I'm going to give you some money to upgrade this a little bit.
Yeah. So that it was he had a way different budget in his head, so they had to like change huge amounts of the film as they went along, because it became apparent they weren't going to reach that like initial like $200,000 budget.
I do wonder what the $200,000 budget version looks like. Belial takes over the town.
I think it would have probably been invested in camera equipment. So like the main bulk of this budget that they had, so they shot it in 16mm and then they jazzed it up to 35 when it got its theatrical release. So that's where most of the budget went.
I've got to say the sound in this movie is very unique. Like the score, like the kind of organ score thing. Go on.
Yeah, so I was going to say, like, the sound, like, sometimes I think they just forget to score the movie. There's whole sections that there's no sound effects or no music or anything. And it's like, I feel like there should be some music here. But what I will say for sound design is I love his scream so much. It is one of the best things about this movie. His
yeah, it's weird. It sounds like
the actual sound of it is amazing. Like genuinely, like it should be like the Wilhelm scream. We should be hearing that in everything. Like it's an amazing sound effect.
Yeah.
To its credit.
It's the scream when someone turns a tap on downstairs when you're in the shower. It's like, it is good though. It's got like a weird like doubling effect on it as well. And his face matches the scream really well as well, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like if you're digging deep with like what is good about this movie, I would say elements of the sound design, specifically his scream, is a highlight.
Yeah, it's good. The score, like, it seems like kind of quite. I don't know. The score is very unique, and it kind of gives it a very like interesting sort of flavour. But I wouldn't say it kind of adds to sort of the scares or anything like that. It's
No.
Yeah, it seems a bit basic in places. But I think the best thing about this film, I thought, was like the grimy New York kind of late 70s, early 80s sort of vibe.
I mean, it is that is also the thing that is amazing about this film. Like, it is a time capsule of New York, 42nd Street, 1982. Like, it shows you how like grimy and utterly disgusting New York was, with like the porno theaters and like just like the like debris, like it is properly scuzzy. And like I think actually that's like a real charm to it. Like getting to see like that, they filmed this without permits. Like every time you see them outdoors, they just had to like film like as much as they could and then get out of there before like the cops turned up. So like knowing that, I find it quite like fun watching all the scenes where they're outside, but like I wonder like how many times they took this before they had to just haul ass and get out of there and stuff.
I loved all of the like minor characters as well, all of like the background actors and stuff. If you just like take time to really watch people, I just wanted to know their story. I wanted to know how they ended up in this film. You know, what was their deal? It was just great.
So
yeah, like
go on,
I was
sorry.
going to say, some of them were actually just New Yorkers who were just like, come be in it.
That doesn't
And some of them,
surprise me, no.
and some of them, were actual actors. Like anytime if someone's outdoors, like it's, they're definitely just random New Yorkers. But yeah, I do love the, like, the dialogue is so bizarre, but I love the authenticity of some of the people. Like they do seem like absolutely mad New Yorkers. Like they haven't flown these people in for LA for a movie. Like they've gone to like open casting in a New York, like, Amdram club or whatever, and be like, yeah, come be in a movie.
Yeah.
I particularly like the guy that owns the hotel.
Yeah, he's got a great mustache. Great sort
Amazing
of look.
mustache.
He's there at all times of the day. No matter what the time of the day is, he's like behind that little counter. What's that racket coming out?
With his little thing, is always flipping his desk flap up.
Yeah. And there's just some weird guys who were always like lurking around that area. There was like a guy in a suit, and just like another, the creepy guy obviously goes and tries to steal the money.
Yeah.
It was bizarre, but I did definitely enjoyed that.
So, in terms of the cast, you've got Kevin Van Hentenryck, who plays Dwayne Bradley. I didn't really recognise him too much. I don't know if he's been in much. Terry Susan Smith is Sharon. Again, I don't know how much. I don't know how much any of these people have been in.
That's definitely. I'm not sure if it's definitely, but I'm pretty sure this is her only credit. So. Wait, if you're enjoying Terry Susan Smith, then this is her entire.
This is it.
Yeah.
Go on, sorry.
I don't want to say too much because like I love like going deep into films, so I don't know if I don't want to spot any trivia that's coming up, so maybe I'll save it.
Well, there may be some Terry Susan Smith trivia.
I'll save it.
There's a whole round of Terry Susan Smith questions coming up. Okay.
Beverly Bonner as Casey. Which one was Casey? Was she the?
She was the neighbor sex worker.
She's in other Frank Henenlotter films.
She's in Frank and Hooker. Yeah.
That was cool to see.
Your favorite guy, Robert Vogel, was the hotel manager. Again, I don't recognise him. He looks a bit like Sam Simmons, if you know the comedian Sam Simmons.
Yes, he does. Oh, that is not kind on Sam Simmons, but
I love Sam Simmons. Sam Simmons once pushed a bag of pasta into my face on a stage.
Yeah.
What kind of pasta?
It was the pasta and sauce. It was the cheese and broccoli. No, it's like a cheese and ham and chive or something like that. It was a good day.
In a bag.
Yeah, it was like one of those little blue. You'll recognise them, blue pasta and sauce things. It was in an Edinburgh show thing.
It's like dry.
Yeah.
This is too much of a deep dive into pasta.
Yeah. Is this not the pasta Hangout podcast?
That sounds like a great podcast.
That sounds like a podcast I would definitely
I
listen
do
to.
love fresh pasta. But anyway, sorry. Lloyd Pace as Dr. Harold Needleman. Hang on a sec. Which one was Dr. Harold
Needleman was
the first guy,
also the Needleman was the guy with the moustache, who's sort of sleazy, who is Sharon's boss.
Okay.
I mean, they're all pretty sleazy, the doctors. Diana, Judith Cutter, the other doctor.
Yeah.
She's pretty sleazy as well.
So,
yeah, with a young man.
Young man that she was warming up.
Yeah.
I just realised their names as well. So there's Dr. Cutter, Dr. Needleman, Dr. Liftlander. I don't know if that's a device.
Have you ever landed
Please land
a
the lift. Just landing the lift now. And then Joe Clark as Brian Mickey O'Donovan. Which one was Mickey? Was Mickey the one who stole the cash?
He's the cash stealing.
He was an interesting guy as well.
Brian Mickey O'Donovan. It's a lot of names to give someone who's just in like 30-second scene.
I think that might be because they accidentally called him a different name in a scene. So I think
wow, that's a good way around it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way around. My name's Brian, but some people sometimes call me Mickey. Sometimes
Mickey.
both.
Yeah. I think that's what that is.
Oh, fantastic.
So this film, like normally, I like to look at the plot summary on Wikipedia to sort of remember what sort of happened in the film. There is not much of a plot summary on Wikipedia at all.
It starts off. I think there's like a flashback scene, and then we see one of the doctors get killed, and then I think it's like fresh off the bus type stuff with like pans of New York and Dwayne kind of, coming to New York and just going in the first hotel.
Carrying his basket.
Carrying his basket.
Yeah.
Luke, there is a plot summary on IMDb.
Okay. That's all right. I don't think of it.
If you need it.
Yeah.
I mean, no, it's not too complicated. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not too crazy. So he arrives with his massive, giant basket. What do you think other people think is in his basket? Do you think he's just out for a picnic?
Just a load of buns.
Well, Sharon, the receptionist, thinks it might be tools.
Oh yeah, she does. Who carries tools in a massive basket like that? I just kept thinking it's a hamper. You know, like when people win a hamper, like from something.
Laundry basket, maybe.
Yeah. These all make more sense than tools. I've never looked at someone with a basket and gone, "Could I borrow your hammer, please?"
Spanner.
Spanner.
I love that you had to like take a little pause and think about like what a tool is. Like,
Hammer's a go-to. But I like spanner.
Hammers.
Wrench, that's a good one.
That is a
Needle
good one,
nose pliers. Now we're digging deep.
Jesus Christ! All right, Luke, showing off.
A plane, that's a thing, isn't it? A plane. You plane some wood.
Yeah, I think that's.
I've never planed anything in my life. Everything's unplaned in my house.
Oh, there's my baby again. 1 second.
No worries.
Do you want to bring him back? Maybe he's alright. Do you want to bring him back? Yeah. Sorry, mister.
Calling for mommy.
What is your baby's name? Sorry. Sorry. Sully. So welcome back to the show, Sully.
There we go.
There we go. As easy as that.
Is your other child called Billy
other
Crystal?
Billy Crystal. Mike was
Yeah.
No, my other child is called Ash, who is named after Bruce Campbell.
That's cool.
And Sully's upset because I didn't name him after any other Bruce Campbell characters. He's like, why call me Sully?
Elvis.
I'm so sorry, guys.
No, it's alright.
It's alright. It's all good. All the time in the world. Did we find out why Belial is called Belial? Sorry, I'm just going off.
Well, I think what happened was his dad was like, okay, you be Dwayne, and you be Lyle. And Belial was like...
You be Lyle.
And Belial was like, Belial, I like it. No, Lyle, Belial.
Isn't Belial like name of a devil?
Oh, maybe, I don't know. I like the way he comes up with names, though, for Henenlotter. Elmer in Brain Damage, and what was the... What was the Frankenhooker called? I haven't seen that one.
I don't think he was called.
Frankenhooker was called.
This is actually really good because this film has a lot of screaming. Like it's like there's so much screaming in this film.
We can just pretend that Belial's in the room. I feel like we're disrespecting Sully.
Great to have you on, Belial.
Tell us all about your role. So he pretty much goes straight to a dirty motel called Hotel Broslin, doesn't he? it's $20 a night, but he's loaded, Dwayne. He gets out like a nice stack of money and just pays in cash. But one of the sleazy looking dudes is watching his.
Yeah, my favorite. That's actually one of my favorite lines. He goes, "That guy's loaded," and someone goes, "So are you."
So are you. So we see a lot of the minor characters who are staying in the hotel as well. And then is now when we see. Do we see what's her name at this stage? Is it?
Yeah, she's bringing
No, we don't see her until.
I thought she gave him a wink. It's like.
Oh, she might have done. I thought we didn't see her until the loaded drunk guy, the sleazy guy, Mickey Bryan, whatever his name is, like is peering through his people, and she like comes out and is like, "I thought you should know that someone's having."
There's a really like nosy woman as well in there who's always first on the scene no matter what's happening. She always straight out there screaming about something. She just loves the drama.
Yeah.
Sure, her name is. So Dwayne goes downstairs and he asks them, "Is there anywhere to get something to eat round here?" You're like, "Well, you're like in the middle of New York, so I mean, you'd hope so, wouldn't you?" But he goes and loads up on hamburgers, brings them back to his room, and just lets Belial go to town. We haven't seen Belial at all at this point, have we?
No, we haven't heard Belial, and we don't know what's in the basket.
We hear him like nomming noises, and he's like, whoever's.
The basket does
shaking.
some good shaking. There's some good basket shaking acting going on by the production team. And I love how convenient it is that all of the doctors live in New York and live close by enough to each other. Yeah. It's very considerate.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's from somewhere called Glen Falls, which is like a small town like north of New York, isn't it? So are we meant to think that the doctors came in especially from New York to do the procedure, I suppose?
Maybe,
yeah. I think it's just one of those script things. It's like all the doctors live on the same street.
Yeah. So Dwayne's got like some medical papers.
Yeah.
Which
So
obviously got their names on.
Yeah. So they killed Lift. What was it? Liftlander. They killed Liftlander first in the opening scene and stole a file. And now he's on his way to Needleman.
Yeah.
Okay. So Needleman is the kind of he was quite maybe like the younger doctor, I guess.
Yeah, he's got like a little glasses, moustache type thing going on.
Yeah. Isn't there a bit just before where Dwayne's trying to sleep and Belial's obviously talking to him, but we can't hear it, so we understand that there's a telepathic link between the two of them.
Yeah, he's trying to sleep and he's just like, I don't want to talk about this. Ugh.
I wonder what he wants to talk about.
Yeah, I wonder.
Pasta.
Oh, man. We should totally. Someone should totally fill in the other side of the conversation.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. So we find out that they have a telepathic link, or there's something not right with this kid.
I wonder how he sounds to him. Like whether he sounds like, I don't know, well spoken like Elmer, maybe.
Yeah, or it's just the screams.
Or just
the exact same screams.
And he goes, all right. Or like Chewbacca and Han Solo, where Han Solo seems to be able to understand all of the Wookiee noises. Is something similar with Dwayne and Belial.
Yeah.
So they go to Dr. Needleman's practice, which is just like shithole, really, isn't it? It's just like he's in a broom cupboard or something doing his.
Does Dwayne pops the basket on a table or something and lets Belial out, like leads him to it? Is that not?
No, that's not that. So he goes in the daytime and he gets mistaken for a typewriter fixer.
Massive basket full of tools.
Sharon is the receptionist and they hit it off and he's like, oh, this is my first time in New York, and then she gets weirdly incensed that he hasn't been to X number of New York landmarks like the Empire State Building or whatever. She's like, you haven't had time, and it's just like...
She is a bit intense. She is definitely intense, isn't she?
And she's got the most amazing wig.
I thought it was a wig as well. I'm not very good at identifying stuff like that, but I was on it with that.
I was like, yeah, so she's just wearing this really bizarre wig. And he hits it off with her, and then he goes into Nildemon's office, and he shows him the scar. And then he's like, I'm going to be back later.
That scar looks really weird.
Yeah. And then that makes Needleman panic and bring Dr. Cutter.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when he rings Dr. Cutter, he interrupts her having a lovely candlelit meal with a younger fella.
Young college-aged man.
A young college-aged man who may or may not be wearing a fiberglass mask. But she's cracking onto him, and she's really annoyed that she gets interrupted to the point where it's interrupting her...
Well, she was making him slobber. Like, he was, like, slobbering as he tried to say something, and then she said something like, I like it when you're drunk because you slobber more or something. That's her aim for the night. I want to see how much saliva you can get out of your mouth.
Yeah, he's like, I've had enough to drink, and she's like, no, drink more. It's a bit weird.
Drink more. It's the only way It's the only way I want you. Barely conscious.
And then there's the most insane phone call. Like, he's trying to warn her, and she's just like, I don't give a flying.
Yeah,
she's just
not
like...
very professional.
No, I mean, she just couldn't care that there was someone out for revenge. She's just like, I'm trying to have dinner with my college-aged man.
I'm trying to get laid over here.
Yeah, she's just like, whatever. And then it goes back, and then she's like, oh, sorry about that. Cuddles.
Did she say that?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Just to really emphasize, I love the equal opportunity sleazebagness this film gives people. She's a total sleazebag, and Dr. Needleman has total sleazy vibes. And then what happens?
The next scene is in the cinema, so it goes to like a martial arts film.
The kung fu noises were insane in that film.
Yeah.
And
a thief dude just like decides to snatch up the basket. This is who I thought you meant was Brian Mickey O'Donovan, but it was the other dude trying to steal the money. So he steals the basket. It's a weird to like steal someone's basket, isn't it?
Could be full of tools, full of expensive tools. That.
And I think I'm right in thinking that at this point we still haven't seen Belial yet. Like, I think
we've seen him do like the rock and roll hands. Because he's got like a weird middle finger that's like half a finger.
Yeah.
So yeah, what happens with the basket thing? He runs
into the bathroom. He just gets mauled. I don't think he dies. Does he? Or does he?
No, he doesn't die because he runs out holding his face, and Dwayne sort of sees it. So yeah. And then what?
Is it here where Dwayne takes Belial to outside Needleman's office, and he lets him loose on the gutters, and he like climbs up or something like that?
So what I got from this was he went to Needleman's office, and then he went to a movie theatre like opposite, waited for it to get dark, waited for the receptionist Sharon to leave, and then when no one's in the office, that's why he doesn't go back to the hotel. Like, he's just trying to kill time, and he's just like, that's why he falls asleep in the cinema, because he's like, I don't care about this. You should not fall asleep in cinemas. It's very disrespectful. But he doesn't care. He's just trying to waste time until everyone's gone home and he can take Belial back to the office.
So he lets Belial out. Belial just stalks and kills Needleman. There's obviously a good scene where Needleman looks up on the wall, and Belial's like, is he on the wall? Or is he on something else? And he's just right there.
Yeah, and this is the first time we see Belial properly, isn't it? Like, we've seen him now.
How would you describe Belial's design?
Go on. I was going to say, he kind of looks like maybe like, it's not quite a brain. I was going to say like Krang, but with arms.
Yeah. What were those troll things? Those little bog trolls. Boglins, that's it, yeah. He's like a boglin, a bit like Krang as well.
He's just like, he looks like a fatty liver with arms. Like he looks like some sort of...
Someone's pushed their face into a liver till it goes through the other side. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like a face with more. A face with extra. Yeah. He's got a face that goes on for days.
He's very unfortunate. He is a head with arms and internal organs, but no legs or genitalia. I did wonder about him eating burgers and where it comes out.
Yeah,
I was thinking that.
I did think that. Yeah. We never see the undercarriage, so who knows what's going on down there.
Yeah.
So Needleman's like preparing for the worst, like he's barricading stuff up, right?
Yeah, he's barricaded his door even though it opens the opposite way. He's not the smartest needle in the haystack or whatever.
Smartest needle. Does he just kill him? He just kills him, doesn't he? Just mauls him.
He just mauls him to death.
Yeah.
And then Belial gets his Rolodex, which has cutters, address in it. So
file of facts. So then Dwayne goes and buys a TV for Belial, so basically to distract him, so he can go out with what's her flavour, Sharon. Yeah, but then obviously while they're out seeing the sights in New York, they have a little kiss, don't they?
Yeah. So this is meant to be Dwayne's first kiss. He mentions it later. It's like, that was my first kiss.
That was my first kiss, man, and you interrupted that shit.
Yeah, they have some sort of like telepathic thing, and Belial absolutely loses his shit because Dwayne is off meeting people. Like, I get the sense.
The TV.
Yeah, how rude. That was a present.
He'd already broke the TV when he tried to turn it on. Like he goes to change the channel and the thing just pops off. I think either the TV's made of cardboard or something, or.
I think what you're meant to get from that is that Belial has like superhuman strength, and that is how he's able to maul people in the way that he does. He has that famous horror movie mutant strength that you get.
He should have learned how to control it by now, though. You know, if he can't even do things like watch TV, it's not a good life to live for Belial, is it? Blob man. So yeah, he smashes the living crap out of room 7, and while this is all happening, all the guests, the receptionist runs up to see what the hell's going on, and they get into the room, but obviously Belial's gone. What did he do? He just like jumped out the window or something, didn't he?
Is he hiding in the toilet, or is that a bit later on?
That's right, yeah.
No, that's later.
Late.
I mean, he could have been hiding in the toilet this time, but he definitely hides in the toilet later.
This is where Brian Mickey O'Donovan, the thieving get, realizes that there's all the money just lying about, and does he go away and then come back? He doesn't. He goes away.
Yeah.
Comes back and picks the lot.
I mean, the best thing about that scene is like, it's like they just randomly introduce stop motion animation, and it is the strongest stop motion animation you've ever seen.
Yes.
But it's amazing, and it's like he just screams and screams like I kind of want to set it as my ringtone. It's amazing. He's just like and then like it'll be like stop motion animation, and then like it'll go to like regular filming, and you'll just see like a chair fall against the wall, and then it'll go back to him being like. But yeah, then we get a theft. Can you imagine it in New York City?
So he takes a wad of cash, and then does he look in the basket there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he gets curious. He's like, maybe there's more money in the basket.
Or tools.
Tools.
Yeah. So he opens it and gets. Yeah. So does he do a bit of the rubber tango where he's kind of holding on to, rolling around?
There was a lot of that in this movie where people just pick up the puppet and just stumble around with it. Yeah, I mean the creature effects are fun in the sense that there's the puppet, there's like a puppet when it's like in the box, and there's obviously people under it moving it, and then there's just like rubber gloves of Belial's hands. And you know, it's fun. He's a fun creature design.
Do they put like, so sometimes it's just like a face, but sometimes it looks like it's a mask, or like someone's in there doing the face bits. Or
I
maybe
don't
it's just
know.
a puppet. Yeah.
They did a face cast of one of the producers, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
But I don't think it's ever like in a mask.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
when this is happening, obviously Dwayne starts to feel, starts to lose his shit as well.
His psychic connection comes back, and he's like, "Oh no, like we're only here to kill these specific people. We can't kill anyone else. I better go home to Belial."
Better go and sort it out. And when he gets there, obviously, a detective turns up at some point, doesn't he, as well, and sort of says something about a dog being in his hotel room.
No, so the detective turns up when Needleman's died or something to ask him about it, or no, that's not right, is it? Like, that's later. The detective turns up because of the screaming in the room. He's like, where were you today? And the detective is my favourite genre of detective, which is a young man in a fake moustache.
Yeah.
It's always great to see.
Best genre of detective. Yeah. And then Bilal's just hidden in the toilet. Has he got no self-respect?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just his whole life he's been in the toilet, isolated, alone. Left the other feces of the world. That's sad. Sad story.
Yeah.
So Dwayne takes the basket to a bar where he gets tanked right up because he's obviously stressed, depressed, all those things. Casey keeps him company, and they're having a lot of laughs, having a lot of laughs.
Yeah.
But then Dwayne just starts telling too much information, starts spilling his whole life story to her.
We get flashback.
Yeah, we get some flashbacks. So he says that their mother died giving birth to them. Obviously, the dad resented them for that. Him and Belial were brought up by their aunt. That's right.
Yeah. So when they're like, I think they're meant to be 12. So in the flashback, we see the dad going like, "I've only got one son."
Yeah.
And stuff.
That was a really weird shot because it was almost like
it looked like a play. Yeah. So
and then there's a really weird scene where so they perform the surgery and they remove Belial and Dwayne against their will. They tackle Dwayne. And
the sound of them cutting into the thing, it sounds like someone opening Velcro in like a crowded room, like trying to do it kind of quiet, but it's an interesting sound. It's pretty gruesome as well.
Yeah.
Pretty gory.
And then later that night, they're like not happy about this. So post major surgery, Dwayne
literally just put Belial in a bag as well, didn't they?
They put him in the bin. They don't even put him in a bin. They put him next to the bins. Like, they've taken the bins out at night, and Bilal's just in a bag, and telepathically...
Someone's like, "Oh, why are you going?" Got like an empty bottle of pop or something. Take that out with you. Yeah.
Dwayne can no longer telepathically communicate with his brother, but he can still hear his brother. So he finds him, and then him and Belial kill his dad with an elaborate saw trap.
Yeah.
That he set up post-surgery, so good for him.
Yeah.
It's pretty nuts considering that the way that Belial kills everybody is pretty much the same throughout this film, and then for some reason their first kill was like an elaborate trap that cut him in half.
He's only 12 at this point. He hasn't put in, arm day.
Yeah.
So they had to rely on complicated traps. And the dad gets
cameras on the. Sorry.
Yeah. The dad gets split in half. We just see both of his legs fall either side. So I'm on board for that. I like that. That's good.
Good times.
And then the aunt's just like, "I've sent the police away. Everything's fine, boys."
What did she say to them?
She even says if something happened to your dad, that's okay, or something along those lines. It's fine. She's
just like, "I got you guys covered."
Making out it's just an elaborate accident.
I'm a cool aunt.
When you're doing, complicated woodwork in the middle of the night in your pajamas and it goes horribly wrong. It's just a classic case of that, police guys. Nothing to see here.
Yeah.
So then the aunt, they show the aunt like dying as well, didn't they? So obviously a few years go by, the aunt dies, and we see Dwayne at the funeral, don't we?
Yeah, so Dwayne, and he's now played by the current actor, so I think the implication of this might be the catalyst for, like, now the aunt's dead, let's go kill everyone else who, let's finish what we started, eh?
I think Dwayne could, like, hide Belial in his hair somehow. Like, he wouldn't have to worry about a basket. Just style his hair a little bit bigger, and as big as it is. Get Belial in there.
Maybe he's working on it. Maybe he's halfway there. Yeah. Or a backpack. Why a basket? Just use a rucksack. Or a briefcase. Like a particularly round briefcase. One of those wheelie things you take on planes.
The basket just seems so ridiculously like, oh, watch out, coming through.
Well, I don't want to spoil any trivia, but I can tell you why it's a basket.
Yes.
Because he came up with the title of the movie, Basket Case, before he had any of the plot. He was just like, basket. A mutant in a basket. So, like, it has to be a basket because he came up with the title before anything else.
I didn't even think of the title then, but yeah, that kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Because without the basket, what's it called? Just a backpack case.
Wheelie case. Wheelie mutant case.
So what happens? So Casey then, after Dwayne's finished telling the story, Casey puts Dwayne to bed. This started annoying me. Nobody knows how to, like, get into bed in this film. Everybody just constantly lies on top of the blankets. Dwayne lies on top of the blankets. Casey goes back to her room, lies on top of the blankets. Maybe it's warm. Maybe it's warm in New York this time of year.
Yeah.
I think it was the winter. So no.
Well, there's no excuse then. Get into bed properly. Get in your gym jams. Get a hot water bottle on the go and get into bed.
Yeah.
Bath and bed.
So Belial's like hiding in the pillows at this point in Casey's room.
Yeah.
Pretended to be one of the pillows. She lies with him and it's like, that's the comfiest pillow I've ever
laid on. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, well, Dwayne got to kiss a girl later, so I want some touchy myself. It goes to touch her boobs.
Yeah.
And then she's just like, what the actual is this? You know, deformed fatty liver doing in my room.
I'm not into it.
Thingy just told her that early that night that his brother is a, like, deformed freak. But, like, she doesn't seem to put two and two together. Like, she's screaming that there's something in a room. Again, everyone in the hotel runs to see what's going on. Like, everybody... Yeah. Always there, ready to go and check what's going on in the hotel.
There's always something going on in that hotel. It's exhausting. If I was staying there, every time I heard a commotion, I'd just be like, I'm staying put. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
So yeah, everyone comes. She runs out. Or like she runs away. It's just like, ah.
Yeah.
Belial leaves, but he steals her underwear.
Yeah.
Takes it with him. Takes it back to his basket.
Yes.
Yeah. So I guess at this point, like, they kill Dr. Cutter next, right? Get on with that.
He the next day he takes his basket to Dr. Cutter's office, and he's like, I've got a cat. It's got a gash in its side. She's like, all right, let's have a look at your cat. And he's like, except it's not a cat.
Dwayne's weird because he comes across as quite like a meek, kind of genteel kind of person. But then when he goes to do these kills, like, he becomes quite evil.
Yeah.
Like, he kind of takes over. Okay, and so Belial, they do the bit of the rubber tango, and Belial shoves her face into the knife drawer.
Yeah.
Or
the reveal is that she's a vet, a vet doctor.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, doesn't really go anywhere. They just. I think you're just meant to be like, they just called in anyone that would do the job.
Yeah.
You know, and she's so rude to him. I know that he's about to kill her, but she's really stern with him and tells him to fuck right off. She's like, I know who you are. Get out of here. And then he opens and then she's like, what's in the basket? And then that's when we have that, like, scene and stuff. And then, like, was that
more screaming, More like really high pitched screaming. Yeah.
And then just two of the most uninterested looking twins you ever see, like open the door, like
oh yeah,
they've got the like blankest stares like since The Shining, like they're just
I don't know
like
if I'm just an idiot. I didn't even realise they were twins until like right at the end. I don't know if I think every shot of them was kind of like separate until they came together at the end, and I was like, oh right, there's two of them. I thought she was just teleporting around the around the veterinarian office.
And then so then she's dead, isn't she?
She's
dead.
She's
and then they've completed their mission. You know, that's what they set out to do. They set out to kill the doctors, and then we should have had our happy ending, but no.
So then Sharon turns up. She goes to Dwayne because she finds out Dr. Needleman is dead.
Yeah.
And then obviously now Sharon's in the mood for love, for making some love, because what more to get you in the mood than find out your boss has just died?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's unbelievably awkward where he just like places his hands on her breasts, but like over her clothes, and it's just like it's really weird. And then obviously Belial is just like,
not this shit again.
And then like comes out, but like I think what's meant to be happening is that Dwayne doesn't want her to see Belial.
Yeah.
So he wraps her
in
a blanket and then throws her out the room, and it looks really hard.
Yeah.
Like he wraps her in a blanket and then he like shoves her out the room, and she's just like.
He wraps it really tightly as well, like he's kind of tucked her in.
And then he's like shouting, and then like she's running down the hall, and then she just like turns back and is like, Dwayne, and then just carries on running.
Yeah.
Her wig stays on the whole time.
Her wig stays on the whole time. Yeah.
So then Dwayne goes to sleep. He's like, right, that's a long day. Gonna have a nap now.
That's enough of that.
Yeah. That was weird.
And then he has a dream where he's like running naked through the city, wasn't he? And I'm glad to see that the hair on his head matches his pubic region.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hair. I know it was 1982.
82,
a lot of hair.
Yeah.
A lot of hair down there.
Like this was amazing. So like you are not allowed to like film in New York, like in certain. So like the way they got this shot was just like. It was in the winter, so they had a heated van, and they'd let him out. He'd run, move the van, and then they'd get as much as they could, and then he'd run back in the heated van, and then they'd let him warm up, and then they'd let him run again, and then they just had to do it so quickly.
Yeah.
Like before they didn't have a permit before they got stopped. But luckily he was up for it. He was just like, yeah, I'll run naked, and you just see everything swinging. It's the first nudity we have in the film as well. Like there's a few bits where like it could have been boobs of like Casey, but you don't see anything. Like this is the first kind of bit of nudity we have, and it's just like
it's out proud. Yeah.
So obviously he starts having a dream that he's touching Sharon. And starts making love to her, but then he realizes that's not a dream. He's in some sort of weird telepathic link with Belial, and Belial is the one making love to her.
Yeah. So what I think that is that's the reason he's naked. It wasn't him running down the street. It was Belial.
Yeah.
And Belial's naked, obviously.
Yeah.
Would have taken Belial ages crawling across the floor.
It would have taken him ages to get there. Yeah.
Well, I think originally in the script it was Belial going across the street. It was it's my own little Belial. It was Belial like in the script, you know, going, and then they were like, "We're not. That is going to take way too long to set up." So dream sequence. Dream sequence.
It's a good idea. So Belial kills her, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Just, does he rip her to shreds? And then does Dwayne go there? He does go there, doesn't he?
Yeah, he goes there, but it's too late, and he's.
I didn't know where she lived.
Who knows?
How did either of them know where she lives? Did Belial get the old map out so he could go and find out where her flat was? So then takes Belial back to the hotel, and they're like fighting, aren't they?
Yeah. He's just like, that was my first kiss. I loved her. Oh, I don't even think he says he loved her. He's just
you
like,
touched her boobs.
Yeah, I did get.
Didn't.
You know, not at least I've touched them with the shirt on, but not all.
Come on.
They have a bro fight, and then because they're having a ruckus again, guess what happens? Everyone comes running.
Yeah. To be fair though, this is a good time to come running when there's a fight between a dude and his
sack of meat
Siamese-twin deformed little brother.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd drop anything if I knew that was happening in the next room.
Yeah.
I'd drop anything.
Yeah.
And then we see below how strong he is. He lifts Dwayne up by his junk.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
The ground.
Oh yeah. Ow.
And more bro fighting ensues, and they fall out the window.
Yeah.
And
I don't understand what Bilal's doing here. Is Bilal like holding him by the neck to stop him from falling?
Yeah,
He's
so
trying to save him.
they're holding on to the Hotel Broslin sign, and Bilal is holding Dwayne by the neck and holding onto the sign, but inadvertently it strangles Dwayne to death before losing his grip on the neon sign and falling to their death. And if you notice, very artistic here, if you notice, they are in the same position as they would have been if they had not been.
Yeah, I did notice that, yeah.
One thing we haven't talked about is
Nice
that
touch.
at some point in the film, Bilal's eyes light up. And they
Yeah.
keep lighting up and like turning off and on. Like, there's a dimmer switch attached to them or something.
Yeah.
Turning off and on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's when, like, Dwayne is, like, with Sharon at one point. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Oh, that's COVID.
It's when Dwayne's horny that his lies
Yeah.
Up,
Yeah.
right?
You've got a beam on.
Full
and
beam.
and then they fall to their death, and everyone's really bummed out.
Yeah.
Oh no! And then this is the other thing I like about this movie. I actually genuinely like the end credits. I think it's really nice. So like, there's no like initial music. It's just like the sounds of like people crowding around and going, "Oh God, oh God, oh God," and it just sort of pans up, and the credits just sort of roll. And I actually really like that. I think it's kind of nicely done.
Also, we know they're not dead because they're in brain damage and haven't seen Basket Case 2 and 3 yet. But...
Yeah. I think this wasn't like meant to be them dead, though. I think it's a sort of reworking. In the sequel came. This is 82, and I think the sequel came in 1990. So
okay.
Like for all intents and purposes, like they are dead. And definitely the people crowding around are just New Yorkers. Like these are not extras. Like the woman that goes, "Oh God, what's that?" It's the funniest line delivery.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's how it ends. Tragic, really. So,
Well, I've got some trivia for you.
Yeah.
If you're ready for it.
yeah, bring it on.
A bit of trivia and a bit of name game. Okay, so question number 1. What was so special about the wad of cash that Dwayne was carrying around?
I know that.
Don't know that. Go for it, Alice.
So supposedly that was the film's budget.
No way!
Yeah.
No way! They
Yeah.
had it in cash. That's
They
fantastic.
had it in cash. But like I said, so like they had various amounts of money as it went. So like they'd film a bit and then they'd get a bit more. But like they had 16 grand, for the most part. So yeah, like there's a big wad of cash, and that is their budget.
That is
The guy
correct.
who was trying to steal it, he was actually trying to steal it. That was also.
Yeah. Number 2. Which actor in the movie had to wear a wig during shooting because they were bold at the time?
That
Old
would
at the time.
yeah, that would be Terry Susan. What was her name? Terry Susan Stone. Smith.
Susan. Sharon.
Sharon.
Yeah. So she had to wear a wig.
Yeah, she was in a punk band. Scottish food.
Oh, right, okay. Well, that's cool.
Yeah, Terry Susan
Know that.
Smith.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got a bit of the name game. Alex, I don't know if you know the name game. Basically, I give you a pitch for a different kind of film that has a very similar name to the name of this film, to Basket Case. So we'll start with an easy one. So it's a Basket Case sequel. It's the 4th one, and like in the Hellraiser franchise, they've gone to the stars, and by that I mean it's set in space. You know,
Basket Space.
Basket Space. Correct. Okay, what about this one? There's a film about a young and naive Undertaker, the wrestler, who moves to New York whilst carrying a casket with a tiny malformed creature inside called Paul Bearer.
Casket Case?
Casket Case. Yeah.
That's it. You ain't got to think about it. That's it.
You're good at these.
He's had a lot of practice. Alright, I don't think you'll get this one, Ben. So it's a film about a young and naive German man who is always carrying around a case that really is quite nice. Everyone keeps coming up to him and saying, that's a good case, but in German.
That's
My German.
a good case.
My German's not very good.
Das gut case. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well done.
Wonderful.
All correct. So
10 out of 10.
now we like to sort of rate the movie. I don't know what you guys are going to go for.
You know the expression like A for effort?
I do. I have heard that before, yeah.
D- minus for effort. Like, no, maybe D plus for effort. Like, I think there is some the genuine things that I like about this movie. I like how scuzzy they've captured New York. I like the end credits. I like the social sign of Belial, and I like the kind of gonzo filmmaking it has. So a very hearty, deserved D plus.
D plus. Okay. That's lower than I thought you were going to go, to be honest. What about you, Ben?
Yeah, so after watching the other Frank Henenlotter films, like I can see, like he's got a very distinct, a very recognizable style, and there's something I do like about that. But this one didn't entertain me probably as much as the other films, so I'll be interested to watch the sequels just to see. Have you guys seen the sequels?
I don't. I've seen like clips. I think I've seen like not clip shows, but like you know when sometimes you just see like little bits and stuff. So
I'd be interested to watch either of them because there's 2 and 3 in there just to see how much further they take it. But I think I'm gonna just go for a C minus for this one, just because there were a few things that didn't quite work for me. But other than that, it was pretty scuzzy. Scuzzy is a great word to use to describe it, Alice. I think I agree with you there.
Also, I think the gonzo word is apt as well. That's the quality that I really liked about it. But it's not a particularly... I mean, I do feel myself getting a little bit bored in this film at times.
I think it's a more enjoyable film to watch with a crowd. So interestingly, they originally cut a lot of the gore out of this film. And it didn't do very well, and then someone wanted it for like a convention, I think, and they had to cut all the gore back in, and that's when it took off. And then it was originally you could buy it on VHS for like basically $50, like $49, and obviously no one bought it. And then they had a sale, and it was like $20, and it sold out immediately, and became like a phenomenon at the time. And ended playing as a midnight movie for 2 years in a New York theatre. So it had this, like, how like, a lot of films get made and then forgotten about and then rediscovered and then become cult. Like, I think this was very early on, like, a cult film.
Yeah.
For a lot
Watching it in a New York theatre would be an experience, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to go with a C minus as well. I like it. I like a lot of the qualities. I prefer Brain Damage.
Yeah, it's a better movie. So Brain Damage budget was $600,000.
Yeah.
Significantly higher.
Yeah.
And it looks a lot nicer. Like this is like very grainy, and that's partly because they shot it on 16mm. Oh, sweetheart.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
No, I don't. Okay, so we'll start to wrap up. But Alice, do you want to direct people anywhere, like a Twitter?
Yeah, you can. If you want to see more of my musings on horror films and other things, if you like jokes, do you guys like jokes?
Yeah.
I do jokes.
Love a good joke.
I do love a good joke.
I do jokes. You can follow me on Twitter at Alice Taylor M. And you can check out Tales of Adventure, which is my D&D improvised show and podcast.
Cool.
Cool.
Ben is at Ben_Errington on Twitter.
Correct. Yes.
I'm at Luke of Condor with K. So yeah, thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the episode, become a patron over at patreon.com/Hawk and Cleaver. Thanks to Kovac Cameron for our theme music. Thanks to Acast for hosting the show. Thanks to the listeners. If you enjoyed the show, please consider rating and reviewing in iTunes. And remember to hit subscribe. And thanks to my co-host, Ben, for being a right horror dude. But also, lots of thanks to our guest, Alice. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much.
And Sully, of course.
Yes, yeah.
And Sully, yeah. Thank you very much.
You've been quite opinionated throughout the podcast, I noticed.
Maybe we need that.
Yeah. Cool. All right, guys. Talk to you in a bit.